If you're a landlord of residential tenants, you probably granted them an assured short-hold tenancy. So if you've granted your tenants an assured short-hold tenancy and you took a deposit in relation to that, then you need to protect that deposit in a tenancy deposit protection scheme. That is a legal requirement under Section 213 of the Housing Act 2004. There's more than one type of scheme, but you need to use one of them. You can't agree with your tenant to not bother with this requirement. Any agreement like that wouldn't be effective, so I wouldn't try and do that. Generally, a landlord has 30 days after taking a deposit to protect it in one of the schemes, and then they also need to serve certain information, so send that information, it's called the prescribed information, to their tenants. So that's something that you need to remember to do as well. If you took a deposit before April 2007, when these rules came into effect, or you have carried out the required steps, but later than those 30 days, then your situation is a bit more complex, and you should think about whether you need to take specialist advice about this. There's also been some changes in the law recently. The Deregulation Act and the Localism Act have slightly changed how the deposit protection scheme rules work. It's very important for a landlord to get the deposit protection scheme right, because if you haven't protected the deposit or served the prescribed information, then you might be required to pay back the deposit in full, plus an extra amount on top to the tenants. And further, you might not be able to get possession of your property because you can't rely on the Section 21 procedure to get possession of your property while the deposit is not protected. Protecting the deposit is designed to make things easier for the landlord and the tenant, so as long as you get the steps right, it should mean that the deposit money is dealt with fairly at the end of the tenancy. If you have any concerns that you might not have protected your tenant's deposit correctly, then you can contact the housing team at Anthony Gold.